Hi everyone, my name is Raquel and today we're going to talk about how to describe any aircraft system. When we explain an aircraft system or any other type of explanations, we need to organize our text into several steps. First of all, we need to state our title, which can be a question such as, how does the lubrication system work? Then, when we start explaining an aircraft system, we need to describe its function or functions. For example, the engine lubrication system supplies oil to all moving parts. This performs several important functions. It is used to lubricate the engine's moving parts. It serves as engine cooler by reducing friction. It helps remove heat from the cylinders. It provides a seal between the cylinder walls and pistons, and it allows to carry away contaminants. Then, in the body of the text, we need to develop the whole explanation. It is essential that we include the main aspects or components and where they are located, as in the example. Reciprocating engines use either a wet sump or a dry sump oil system. In a wet sump system, the oil is located in a sump that is an integral part of the engine. In a dry sump system, the oil is contained in a separate tank. Also, don't forget to describe the process and provide specific information about the function of some specific components. After the oil passes through the engine, it returns to the sump. In some engines, additional lubrication is supplied by the rotating crankshaft, which splashes oil onto the engine. Finally, to conclude our explanation, we can always give some tips about the system. Check the oil temperature periodically during flight, especially when operating in high or low ambient air temperature. As we saw before, we can use different expressions to explain the function of a system. For example, it is used to and it allows to plus a verb in infinitive, as in it is used to lubricate the engine's moving parts or it allows to carry away contaminants. Similarly, we can use it helps plus a verb without to, as in it helps remove heat from the cylinders. Finally, we can use it provides and it serves as plus a noun, as in it serves as engine cooler by reducing friction, and it provides a seal between the cylinder walls and pistons. On the other hand, when we want to explain how something works or how to do something, we can use the expression by plus a verb ending in ing. For example, how do you start the engine? You start it by turning the master switch on. Another important aspect when describing is to explain the location of the components. To do that, we can use it is located, contained, or placed in plus component or part, as in the oil is located in a sump and the oil is contained in a separate tank. On the other hand, when describing the process of a system, we normally use the present simple. As we are talking about things, we use the third person singular or plural. When the subject is singular, we need to add the final es to verbs, as in the oil passes through the engine or it returns to the sump. When we have more than one unit in a component, we need to use third person plural, and therefore we don't put any es at the end of the verb, as in the slats move backwards, which can be replaced by they. When we read service and operation manuals, it is very common to find passive sentences in the present simple. Additional lubrication is supplied by the rotating crankshaft. This passive is used to emphasize the subject, so additional lubrication is the most important information and not what drives the action, the rotating crankshaft. Besides, we always place is if the subject is singular or uncountable, as in additional lubrication is supplied. However, when we turn it into the active voice, the subject of passive goes to the object position after the verb. The verb is supplied becomes active, supplies, and rotating crankshaft becomes the subject. Again, as rotating crankshaft is singular, the verb is singular too, so we need to place the final es at the end of it. That is one of the most important aspects, as when we change active into passive and vice versa, the number of the subject may change into singular or plural form, and therefore the verb will also change. For example, in a stabilizer position is provided by trim indicators, stabilizer position is singular, and so the verb will be is provided. Whereas in trim indicators provide stabilizer position, the subject is plural. So we use provide for plural subject and not provides, which is used for singular subjects. On the other hand, we use which to introduce specific information about parts and components, placing a comma before which. So, comma plus which plus verb with the specific information, as in the rotating crankshaft, which splashes oil onto the engine. One important aspect when describing the process is to use time expressions such as after or before, when, or sequence connectors such as first, then, and finally, as in after the oil passes through the engine, it returns to the sump. That will make our text more unified, cohesive. Finally, when we give some tips about the system, don't forget to use the imperative. Check the oil temperature. Also, we can find the structure when plus a verb in ing, as in when operating in high or low ambient air temperature, which means when you operate. This sounds more general, which is one of the main aspects when giving recommendations. So remember, when we explain an aircraft system, we need to state its main function, include the main components and where they are located, describe the process and include specific information, and give some final tips about the performance of that system. Hope you enjoyed this and see you in class. Enjoy your flight!